Before I open this series, I need to share something deeply important. Something that could save you a lot of confusion and possibly pain. It's this. When you seek guidance, especially across borders, remember to account for cultural context. Because not every coaching style, every mentorship method, or even every spiritual practice means the same thing in every culture. Some ancient methods have been passed through sacred traditions. Others have been modernized, westernized, or even commercialized. What one person sees as neutral observation, another may feel as emotional violation. Take the snake eating its tail, for example, a powerful symbol in some traditions. It was never meant to diagnose someone repeating cycles. It's not a tool to explain individual setbacks. It speaks to the nature of life itself, cycles of evolution, endings feeding beginnings, divine recursion. And when meanings like that get reduced to personal critique, we risk turning sacred wisdom into shallow judgment. I was in a space of growth. I invited two mentors into my world, open-hearted, open-spirited, but not fully aware of the invisible cultural codes between us. In hindsight, I see how those differences shape their perception of me. Not necessarily from cruelty, but from a lack of shared understanding. And that's where the fracture began. So I say to you with love and caution, before you open your soul to someone, check where they're speaking from, not just what they know, but how they know, what shaped their beliefs, their methods, their truths. And ask yourself, does this resonate with my spirit's language? This isn't about blame, it's about clarity and sovereignty. Because healing shouldn't come with spiritual confusion, and mentorship should never cost you your self-trust. Have you ever mistaken control for care? I did. And the price I paid was my own power. There was a man I trusted, a mentor with a velvet voice and a silver tongue. He knew the language of transformation, NLP, psychology, spiritual buzzwords. He didn't call himself a king, but he ruled like one. I handed over my light, thinking I was being guided. But what I was really doing was shrinking. You're not ready yet. Let me guide you. That idea, let me reframe it for you. Don't speak yet. Watch how I do it first. And slowly, I disappeared. I wasn't being mentored. I was being managed, controlled under the illusion of care. Magnifico doesn't always wear a crown. Sometimes he wears a coaching badge. Sometimes he wears your trust. But here's what I know now. Control isn't love. Control isn't guidance. Control is fear. Fear of being outgrown. Fear of losing the spotlight. Fear that your greatness might reveal their smallness. So listen, real care gives you wings, not a leash. And I promise you this, the moment you stop asking for permission, it's the moment you remember who you are. Welcome to part 1 of the Shadow series. We're naming the shadows so we can reclaim our light. Say no one time and watch how fast someone shows you their true self. I used to think being agreeable made me kind, that flexibility meant I was easy to work with. But I learned the hard way. Some people only respect you when you're bending. The moment I said, no, that doesn't feel right to me, the energy changed. The warmth, gone. The encouragement turned to subtle critique. The praise replaced with distance, disapproval, silence. And I realized my yes was their power source. But my no, that exposed their shadow. If you really want to see someone's truth, don't give them more of you. Give them space. Give them time. Say no once. Set a boundary. And then watch the contrast. People who love you, respect you, and walk in alignment with integrity, they may feel disappointed, but they won't punish you. They won't withdraw affection as a weapon. They won't guilt trip you into compliance. But people who are feeding off of your energy, your obedience, or your silence, they will flinch. They will fight. They will try to convince you that you're the problem. Your no is sacred. It's a sorting tool. It's not rejection. It's revelation. And the greatest gift you can give yourself is time, space, and enough contrast to finally see who's standing beside you and who was only standing on top of you. Welcome to part 2 of the Shadow series. Let your boundaries be the light that exposes the dark. If they need you to feel guilty to stay connected, that's not love. That's leverage. I used to feel guilty for protecting my peace, guilty for resting, guilty for saying, that's not mine to carry. And I couldn't understand why until I realized guilt was being handed to me like a gift I didn't ask for. After all I've done for you, you've changed. You used to be more grateful, more available, more compliant. That wasn't love. That was emotional currency. And the cost was me. My time, my clarity, my boundaries, my breath. Guilt is a shadow dressed like duty. It whispers, if you don't show up for them, you're selfish. But here's the truth. You're not selfish for needing space. You're not wrong for evolving. If guilt is guiding your choices, check who's holding the map. Real love doesn't punish your growth. It doesn't twist your kindness into obligation. It doesn't shrink you so it can feel safe. When guilt shows up, pause. Listen deeper. Ask yourself, who benefits from me feeling bad? If your no makes them withhold love, then their yes was never real in the first place. Welcome to part 3 of the Shadow series. And if guilt has been running the show, baby, it's time to take your power back. You don't need their blessing to become whole. You don't need their agreement to rise. After I broke away from guilt, the shame, the manipulation, I didn't feel powerful. I felt lost, uncertain, like I had just burned the only map I ever had. But piece by piece, I started to hear myself again. Not the voice shaped by mentors, not the echo of their expectations, my own inner knowing. Quiet, but clear. And every decision I made from that place, even if it was scary, it made me feel more alive than all the advice in the world. Empowerment doesn't always roar. Sometimes it whispers. You already know. It's not about confidence. It's about trust. Not trust in them, but in you. Real empowerment isn't given. It's remembered. And once you touch it, you don't need validation. You don't need applause. You just need space, breath, and belief. So if you're walking out of the shadows right now, keep going. You're not losing support. You're finding your center. You're not walking away. You're walking yourself home. Welcome to part 4 of the Shadow series. This is your gift of empowerment, and it looks good on you. I was told her dreams will never come true. Not behind my back, but in public. And guess what I did? I wrote. For 4 months, I was being mentored, sharing ideas, being open, building trust. But the moment I said no, the moment I asked for boundaries, especially around the sacred birth of my Majesty project, that same mentor turned around and tried to discredit the dream, made public claims, psychological projections. Her dreams will never come true. That broke something and built something. Because in that silence and that grief, I turned inward, not to shrink, but to document everything. I journaled the pain, the anger, the divine clarity. That pen became my mirror and my medicine. Journaling isn't just writing. It's self-therapy in real time. It's a sacred dialogue with your soul when no one else can be trusted with the truth. So when they say you'll never make it, when they say you're delusional, too much, not enough, write anyway. Write until you remember. Write until the betrayal becomes a blueprint. Write until you can see yourself again, not through their lens, but through your own light. And when the world finally sees you, they'll have no idea that what saved you was ink on a page. Welcome to part 5 of the Shadow series. They tried to erase the dream. You picked up the pen, and that made. You know, I didn't write to heal. I wrote to survive. But somewhere between the pain and the pen, I came back to life. I didn't know I was losing myself. I was just doing what women like me do, surviving, smiling through disappointment, speaking softly, even when my spirit was screaming. But then I met Majesty. And no, she didn't show up in a crown. She showed up in a question. She showed up in the moment I dared to ask, what if I am not broken? What if I was just never allowed to bloom? The Magnifico series wasn't just something I created. It was a reminder, a breadcrumb trail back to my own soul. At the center of it all was my journal. That book didn't just hold my words, it held my return. Page by page, I rewrote the stories I was experiencing. I released the lies I had memorized. I reintroduced myself to a version of me that had been patiently waiting under the weight of other people's expectations. Majesty is not some performance. She is the evidence of my evolution. She is the version of me who no longer seeks permission to be whole. And now, I write with clarity. I write with conviction. I write with the divine audacity of a woman who knows she never lost. She was only becoming. So if you follow me this far, I don't need to convince you. You feel it. You've been feeling it. And if a part of you is rising up right now, if your shadow self is whispering, me too, then this is your invitation. Not to copy my journey, but to journal your own. To take back your symbols, take up space. Take back you. Because Majesty, she's not just a character, she's a mirror. And the reflection looks royal. This may be the end of the Magnifico series, but it's just the beginning of your comeback. Let's keep walking together.